Don't fill up your tank until Wednesday.
After federal budget. The government is playing coy with the prospect of cutting the tax on fuel so it's cheaper to fill up the car. Because right now, every time we go to the counter at BP, it feels like this.
Oh, wow!
Should have been the biggest moment of Will Smith's career. And it is, but not for finally winning an Oscar.
You reckon it was staged?
Chris Rock is not that good an actor.
Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
He never saw it coming, didn't even put his hands up.
Well, Smith didn't telegraph his intentions, unlike the federal government, which is making sure every voter out there understands Tuesday's budget will contain a fuel tax cut. The word is 10 cents or even 20 cents a litre. If it's 10, the owner of a Hyundai i30 with its 50-litre tank will save $5 every time they fill up. 20 cents would save them 10, which is about 1/3 of what it will save the struggling owners of $120,000 Toyota Land Cruisers. Those battlers in Cottesloe tractors will have an extra $29 in their pocket every time they fill up their Sahara's 140-litre tank.
Doesn't seem right.
Well, nothing in our fuel tax system is fair. The diesel fuel rebate gives the operators of heavy machinery, read the richest mining companies in the world, free money every time they buy some juice. They get 43 cents a litre back. Big bucks for a company like, say, Fortescue Metals Group, which consumes 700 million litres of diesel a year. It adds about $300 million to Fortescue's bottom line. Andrew Forrest owns a third of FMG, so in round figures it's worth $100 million a year to him, which is about the same amount Chris Rock's lawyers will make in the next week.
Shut up before I crush you with my wallet.
Or Mark Zuckerberg's lawyers.
Twiggy's had a win in his case against Meta. He took Facebook's parent company to court after it refused to stop crypto spruikers using Forrest's image in their scams. Meta reckons WA's Magistrates Court doesn't have jurisdiction, but didn't bother turning up to argue the case. Forrest lawyer Sam Van Dongen, he of cognitive distortion fame, said that was bullshit and Magistrate Briony Ailing agreed. Entered a not guilty plea on Zuckerberg's behalf so that he has to shape up.
Look how good I look. Ain't this just a perfect specimen of a man right here?
Zuckerberg's not exactly transparent.
No, who is? The government's not. Government sources are saying whatever fuel cuts we do end up getting won't be permanent. Probably last 6 months. The reasoning being that 3 months would be seen to be too cynical because it would take it just past the election, but 12 months would cost way too much money. As it is, the 6-month cut, if it comes in, would cost the government $4 billion in foregone revenue. That's a problem because there are a lot of financial promises in the air at the moment, and at some point, they're all going to land.
Welcome to Earth.
Latest one is the expansion of the Home Guarantee Scheme.
This is where the government guarantees a portion of the loans for people who can't get loans because they haven't been able to save any money for a deposit. It's a feel-good social justice initiative that plays well with voters. It's actually a cheap promise because, unlike most government policies, this one actually seems to work. Once people are on this scheme, they don't default. So taxpayers are rarely left on the hook. The government reckons 50,000 families previously unable to afford their own homes will get on the property ladder. The extra demand will inevitably push up housing prices, which will require another expansion of the Home Guarantee Scheme, which will...
I get it. The list of budget promises is getting pretty long.
The government is telling us we need budget repair, read spend a lot less, but also needs us to vote for them, read spend a lot more.
Anybody want to go to lunch?
Which is as ironical as doing this
Oh, wow!
and then saying this.
I'm being called on in my life to love people.
Treasurer Josh Frydenberg has been talking up his budget in between going for jogs.
Pollies love being filmed exercising.
It started with John Howard. Remember him going for his walks in his Australia tracksuit?
Yep.
Tony Abbott took it to an extreme, and we've had everything in between.
How long do I have to keep on running?
When Josh is running, he's probably mentally tallying up all his promises, which accumulate fast because one often requires another. Now that we can all afford to drive our cars again because of the fuel tax cut, we need to build more roads. The extra pollution that generates will require investments in other areas.
Maybe we need more investment in prisons.
Another bikie is going to jail. Hakea remains the biggest clubhouse in WA. The latest guest is a former member of the Satudara outlaw motorcycle gang. It draws its name from the Malay language. It means something like one blood, but the club originated in the Netherlands.
Isn't that weird? Yes.
Grew to 44 chapters around the world, including in Perth, which is where a bloke named Arron Crawford joined. Arron's was the usual path to outlaw status. Promising young cricketer rises through Dennis Lilly's bowling academy to play for Western Australia in 2008. Debuts alongside Test stars Shaun Marsh, Marcus North and Adam Voges. Has ambitions of reaching the same heights himself before getting injured working for a supplements company, becoming a drug addict, joining the Satadura bikie gang and then repatching to the Rock Machine, where he became Sergeant-at-Arms when the Canadian gang resurfaced in Perth in 2019 after disbanding a couple of years earlier in the wake of a bloody turf war with the rebels and Comancheros.
Pretty standard, really.
The one-time fast bowling ace is now in Hakea Prison, where he's discovering an exciting new definition of caught behind.
What did he do?
Again, it's a pretty standard crime spree. In 2019, Aaron's fiancée, Levy J. Bevans, decides to rob a meth dealer in Mundajong. She told him she was coming to buy some drugs, which a female friend would pay for with sex. Instead of taking a hooker, she took Arron, who somewhat ironically chooses a baseball bat to break one of the dealer's legs. Because men don't mess around when it comes to protecting the women in their lives.
Keep my wife's name out your f***ing mouth!
Arron then proved that he's a good sportsman, as well as a multidisciplinary one, by giving his victim a cigarette and offering him some medical attention.
Stop crying, punk ass. Go ahead.
Before stealing some drugs, a few beers and a bottle of Baileys.
Not okay.
He got 7.5 years and will be eligible for parole in mid-2025.
I can understand you feeling some kind of way about that.
That's a long innings.
Well, the boys will help him pass the time. I'm Ben Harvey. For more update, click the subscribe button below.